Hey, what's up, everybody? It's OneMicNite Talk today. I'm MarcosLuis. You know who I am. Shane Mark Tull is back, and we are talking about politics. So if you don't want to hear anything about politics, don't watch. But I encourage you to watch because we have some strong opinions on what's going on in America. We also want you to leave us a comment and let us know what you think about the 2024 election coming up, because we're going to start on a journey of hopefully galvanizing people to make choices in the elections. So this is OneMicNite Talk. Sit back, you're ready. Join me. And welcome back to OneMicNite. This is OneMicNite Talk today, and if you haven't been here before, welcome to OneMicNite. Make sure you drop down and give us a like if you like what we're doing. Also, there are ways to support the podcast. The podcast is produced, written, and edited by myself. So if you'd like to support this podcast, please do so. The ways to do it are down in the notes. Number one, don't watch this episode if you don't want to know some things about the political scene that's going on. Number two, don't watch this episode if you don't want to know a little bit about pop culture and the psychology of pop culture in the United States. And number three, I want to welcome back our guest because you already know who it is. It's a co-host, your favorite co-host. He is a clinical psychotherapist and author of the book, The Mental Health Pandemic. It's Shane Mark Tull. Welcome back.
How are you? Good to be back. It's
I'm
been a
doing
while.
I know I'm doing much better now, much better now.
Awesome.
Listen, we got a lot to talk about. How have you been?
I am a bit exhausted. I was on a book tour and a lecture series in Ghana. I just returned but 2 days ago, so I'm still jet lagged, but I'm here, so let the good times roll.
That's right. Let it roll. So you do have a new book that's in the works too. I want to mention, right?
It's not there yet, but it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. I just need like another month to just pull everything together. But there's going to be some buzz in social media soon about it. Yeah.
All right, that sounds good because I want to make sure everybody's looking out for that book. So listen, today we're going to talk about a couple of things, and I hope everybody's along with us. I want to talk a little bit about the election. We're in an election year, 2024. We have two candidates who've already been up against each other in the last election, but there's some things that have transpired, over the last year or 2 years with one of the candidates, and we're talking about Donald J. Trump. Yeah, so
Ooh,
lots of things happening there. Currently, he's in court. They just finished picking uh, what are the word? The jury,
the
excuse me.
jury,
Yeah, the
jury did.
jury for the court trial,
They've
which
been
was
seated. Yeah.
an event in its own.
Yes.
So many things surrounding it. Yesterday here in New York City, outside, after they picked the jury, we had an incident where a man set himself on fire,
Mhm.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
All these things that are happening. What are your thoughts on some of these things?
I just think this is just a stage for a free for all, and people that have issues, they will use this as a space to come and demonstrate or express themselves, and it just really adds more danger to already overworked, overbooked, over anxious city because you can feel the anxiety in the city.
Absolutely
because
can.
he's there with Secret Service, and jurors are very anxious about their identity being discovered, and nobody wants to be harassed. And like two jurors broke down and said it was too much; they just cannot do it. And him being in the room as this imposing figure also adds more challenges to the selection of jurors because he's he was the president of America.
President of the United States,
He,
exactly.
he, yeah,
It's already hard enough to be a juror in a case because I don't know if you've ever served jury duty, but I have. Not only was it eye-opening for me, as a civilian to see how the judicial process works, it was very enlightening to be in that courtroom. But the added pressure of knowing, and I can say a little bit about the case that I was in, but knowing that you're making a decision about someone's life, that's pressure in its own. Whether this
correct,
person will be found guilty and what the sentence will be after that. But you're dealing with the highest profile person almost in the world right now
correct.
and
Yeah,
making decisions about his livelihood and probably whether or not he can run for the United States of America again. So
and the fact that he's not helping himself by acting the fool,
absolutely.
so that's not helping.
Which
So
is which is in
my
vain with his character anyway. So we knew that would happen.
I we have to pray for those jurors that they're covered and that they are not. No one will expose their identity because their lives will never be the same again.
Absolutely will
Yeah.
not.
They will
Absolutely.
be harassed. And believe me, Trump will try every way to leak their names out there. He will
Absolutely.
do everything he can just to mess up the process because he may end up with a hung jury. It's just one person have to say, I don't agree.
Right.
Yeah,
How can they even go through the process? I mean, I don't even know how you can go through the process of finding a jury that's non-partial. There are very few people in this country who don't know anything that's going on. It's
correct.
all over the news. It's everywhere you go. It's a vein of conversation between people all the time.
Correct. But they have to listen to the evidence. Just listen to the evidence, and that's what you make your decisions on how the judge instructs you. So that's all we can do. And this is democracy at its best. Like he's not above the law. Like this is what the democracy looks like. That
Right.
even though he is who he is, he has to sit there before a jury of his peers and endure the process like everyone else. And I hope the judge keep a very tight run courtroom and keep him in order because he will make this a shit show.
Right. And he already has because he's been trying to change the court date so that it, could give him more time and he could
It
run and do his
delayed, yeah,
campaign and everything
yeah.
else. Do you feel like that they've let him kind of slide a little bit and let him get through a lot more than he should?
They have allowed him to run amok. I
Yeah.
always say when he came down that escalator in 2015 and announced, it was just the biggest con move ever
Yeah. Yeah.
because he gave access. The media and everybody just thought that he was a buffoon, and they were going to just use this to get more ratings and just use him as this sideshow. But by the time they realized that this was real, he had tapped into the worst common denominator of the human psyche in this country, which is hate.
Right. And how
He
do
had
we get to
tapped
that
into
point?
those
How did
people.
we get to that point? You
It
have
was
a
always there.
mhm.
It was always there. He just opened the bandwidth for them because we have a black president. It's like politically incorrect and socially inappropriate to say certain things. But when Trump came on the scene, he opened the floodgates and allowed them to like, hey, I'm giving you a red carpet to do whatever you want. And he really ignited that the lowest common denominator that I think that's part of this American experience is racism and hatred. And he really opened his floodgate and welcomed them in. So now this is where we are. By the time the media realized, oh my God, this has gone too far, it was way too late. Because we have to realize that even though he lost the election, 77 million people voted for him.
which is incredible. It's incredible.
And it really is. And he may have lost some of them, but he may have gained some more. So
Right.
our democracy is still a threat because he can win again.
He absolutely
And
can.
as daunting as that sounds, we really need to be out there blowing the bells and whistles and really telling people you have to go there and forward, because if this democracy is contaminated anymore and it's not functioning, that's really like a mini synopsis of what's going to happen in the world. Because
Absolutely.
if the American democracy can be broken, yeah.
Right, because we are the ones who supposedly set the standard for the world. Here's what
Yes.
gets me though, is how can people support a man who has 34 felony counts in New York City, 40 felony counts in Florida, and 4 in Georgia for trying to overturn the elections?
Yeah.
Now his whole base is this year he's deploying people, attorneys, people to go out to election polls in those states to sort of oversee to make sure that
Yeah.
there's no election fraud. When the ironic thing is he was the one committing election fraud last 3 years
Yes.
ago.
And so the people that were supporting him were caught. So literally committed election for, I think, one man in Georgia voted like 9 times.
Right.
Okay, so,
Exactly.
but what I think someone said it yesterday. They said, I'm not afraid of Trump. I'm more afraid of his base.
Mm,
And I
mm.
think you really need to think about that, because I don't think at the core of who Trump is, he cares about those people. All he cares about, I will create every distraction and do whatever I have to do to stay out of jail. And if it means inciting another riot or a civil war, he's committed to that. And these people cannot see the the grift because they're sending him their money.
The thing that I want to ask you too is how does he use his psychology to galvanize these people to do this work, to follow him? It's almost like a cult
It
leader,
is it's a cult.
right? Where the leader
It
is so charismatic and, empowered that these people are so far from reality that they just follow along with what he's saying.
because he tells them they're coming after me. If they can come after me, they'll be coming after you. So I'm standing in the gap for you. I am you. I'm defending you. And they charge onto that and they latch onto that and like, yes, we have to take care of him. So these are poor white folks in middle America that are sending him their money. And unfortunately, the money is going to the RNC, but it's really going to Trump.
Right,
Because what happens to all those dumb ballot races across the country? They're
right.
not getting any funding or support. So once again, this is the Trump show, and these people are just giving money and just I don't I've never seen anything like that, like this, that has happened in this country, where one man can galvanize so much hate and dollars.
Yeah,
It's one thing to galvanize people that get around up,
right.
but to get them to give them money continuously, it's unbelievable.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And how he can galvanize the Republicans who are in there and they just follow behind him. He is
Literally.
the leader of the Republican Party. He's not a part of the Senate. He's not a part, or any of the Congress, any of that stuff, but he's already, telling them what to do and
He's
they
running
follow
the
it.
show.
He's
He's
obstructing,
running the
mhm,
show.
running the show.
He, they had a border deal where Congress and the Senate came together, had everything carved out, and he just said no, and they all fell back.
Right. I want to read some of the issues. I'm on his website, donaldtrump.com. He wants to rebuild the greatest economy in history, fair trade for the American worker, unleash energy dominance, the war on the drug cartel, stop crime and restore safety, Defend law and liberty. Let's see what he says about that. He's he's Donald J. Trump has appointed nearly 300 federal judges to interpret the Constitution as written and preserve the extraordinary vision of our founding fathers. Hmm. How about that? What was
Don't
life
see.
like
But
250 years ago?
that's one of the dangers that he created while he was there. Those federal judges, they're kind of there for a lifetime, so they can reinterpret the Constitution. I
Hmm.
mean, look what the Supreme Court did with Roe versus Wade, and then they left that door open that they can come back and go after more affirmative action and go after other rights. And so we're in a slippery slope,
A
and this
very
is really
slippery slope.
disturbing.
Very slippery
It is
slope.
very disturbing. Yeah.
I also want to say he says, uh, where are we? He wants to defend your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms and uphold your religious liberty, including the constitutional right to pray in public schools. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Pray in public schools, but America's very diverse,
Thank
so not
you.
everybody's praying to the same uh, God, deity,
Correct.
Allah,
Correct.
Jehovah, you know.
Correct.
So, yeah, yeah,
Well, Make America Great Again is really make America white, racist, male.
absolutely. And going back to the forefathers, which was about 1776,
Correct.
right?
White, racist, male. But, as someone said that, or my whole analysis of this is that if we think of, after Roe versus Wade, the scorn of a woman, think of the scorn of millions of women
Mm,
that he is pissed off and are coming after him at the ballot box. And we know women vote more than men.
right. But here's where he flipped the script because now instead of making it a federal thing, he wants to give the power to the states. And now he's pushing it off on the states. So he's flipped the game
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
gain more voters.
Yes. But which may not be a bad thing because every state that abortion had come up with the ballot, they've made it part of the Constitution. So it's working for Democrats.
Right.
He's just trying to flip it now so it will work for
Absolutely.
him.
For
So
him.
what happened to all these the religious conservatives that voted and put him there so he could put in judges to overturn Roe versus Wade? Yeah, so they're going to be pissed off.
They're going to be pissed off. Of course. Of course.
Let's see what happens.
Good luck in the
We're
2020.
we're
We're
in current time. We can laugh about it, we can joke about it, but we really have to like take a deep breath and really think of how do we galvanize to push back this kind of all kinds of crazy. This is not two kinds of crazy. This is all kinds of crazy.
absolutely. And we definitely, as we say in every, time we talk about politics, we encourage people to vote. We're not telling you
So
who to vote for, but make sure
it's
you vote. Figure out
yeah,
what these candidates are standing for, what they're running for, what platform they're on, and what works for you. What are the main things that you're looking for a president? The president
yeah,
doesn't have all the power in the world. We've said this before. It's the people on the grassroots who are speaking for you.
right,
Have to know what these people are standing for. And these are the people who are appointing, as you said, the judges, the Supreme Court, who are
correct.
there for a lifetime. So you need to make sure you know what you're voting for and you have to
And,
vote.
and not only that, politics is local. You need to know who's in your school board. You need to
Absolutely.
know who's on your city council. You need to know who's your state senator or your district organizer. Like,
Yep.
what's their platform? What are their values? Have you been to a community board meeting? Maybe you need to go volunteer for voting. If we cannot, it bothers me when people complain and when you ask them, "Did you vote?" No. When people say that, I'm very clear. You just be quiet
Right.
because you didn't
You
vote.
you can't say anything.
You
Nothing.
can't say anything.
Right. But
You
the
didn't
problem is
participate
is
in the
we
process.
need you to vote.
We
Everyone should
really, really do.
everyone should vote. If you are
But
able, you should vote.
I also have a question for you.
Yeah.
Where is this? coming from that a lot of black men are voting for Trump. Where are they? Who are they?
I don't know. I'm not sure what the reasoning is. We have Latinos voting for Trump. We have a lot of people. I'm not sure what values they see in him.
But I think
That
Southern black men are very conservative. And I think they are probably turned off by the LGBTQ community and the trans movement and probably abortion as well. So they just feel like, hey, all the things I value, my people are no longer, Trump is the only person that's standing for that. But maybe it's me, I just refuse to think that black men are, and for the lack of a better word, stupid enough to vote for somebody like Trump who cares nothing about
nothing
them.
about them, nothing.
Nothing. Like I would like to meet a black man that said, I'm considering voting for Trump. And for him to convince me on what grounds.
Right.
Yeah. And I think in the during the pandemic, there were a lot of these young folks running around saying, "Oh, Daddy Trump, he's giving us checks, he's giving us money." Trump had nothing to do with that.
Absolutely
It was
nothing.
Nancy Pelosi and the House bring that bill together, push it through the Senate, and Trump saw it as an opportunity to look good and put his name in it and make it look like he was giving out this check. It was his initiative. It was not his initiative. But young folks are not, and my son is 28, and him and I had this discussion. And he said, "Yo, but Trump give money." No, it was not.
No,
He
not at all.
signed the checks, but it was he had no intention. He's not that insightful to think of something like that. But
Right.
he was politically savvy enough to see it as an opportunity to give people money and make it look like, oh, this is his initiative and he's giving money to poor people.
Right.
And young people are not getting their news. I don't know where they're getting their news from because talking to my son, I think we live in two different worlds. Because what I say, what I know, is completely not what. And he lives in Ohio, and I'm
I,
like, you live in a state that
right.
it's one of the kind of like a swing state now. So
I
you
think
really
we
need to be.
I think we know as
Oh
older
yeah,
people too, and we've said this before, that it's not only one source of news that you need to look at. There are multiple sources of news, and then you need to make a determination based on multiple sources of news. You can't just watch Channel 5, you can't just watch Fox, and you just
yeah,
can't watch CNN. You got to watch the BBC. You got to see what the world is thinking too, and then make your
thank you.
decisions based on that.
Correct. And because we're not good consumer facts. We don't do our research. We just
Right.
it comes to the internet. Oh, I said, so where did you learn this? Oh, it was on the internet. I said there are a lot of misinformation on the internet,
Absolutely.
and the enemies know that, so they know Americans are lazy readers. So we're not going to do a deep dive into an issue like find articles and try to find proof. Just as long as on the internet you read it to 360 characters, hey, that's news. That's good enough, and that is the thing we have to move away from. And how do we create spaces where we can meet and have conversations about
That's the biggest thing is
those?
nobody's reading. We're consuming, just like you said. It's like a short, let me just consume this 360 word, bit on it and then, take it and run. These are excerpts. It's like we watch, like even just I'm going to compare it to what we're doing on social media, even on YouTube. People want to watch the shorts now, which is a minute
Yeah,
long. These are
yeah,
extracts of the full picture.
yes. And
It's just a little snippet
this
of the
whole
whole thing.
show this
Right.
whole show that we're doing right now, if you don't break this up in 30 seconds or 45-second clips and put it out there, nobody's gonna see
Nobody's
it.
going to
No
watch
one
it.
want to look at this whole event.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
which you have to break it up and make it, I don't know what else, brandable or scandalous or something that catches attention.
Right.
So no one is invested in like, hey, these are two black men talking about things that affects us. Maybe we should listen to everything.
Right.
So,
Get the full picture. And then you have to
yeah,
understand too, where are you consuming your news? Just point blank. Where is your source? of news. And this is one of the things they had to do with the jury. This is one of the criteria that they had. Where are you consuming your news? Are you watching Fox? Are you watching CNN? Are you watching, different points of view so they can sort of judge how equally and how fair you are in your decision making. Those are important
Is the
things.
news informed our opinion?
It absolutely does.
It forms our opinion. So we have to be clear where we're getting it from. So, I just think moving forward, I was scratching my head, like, what do we do to have conversations around how this election is? I know everybody said, oh, this is the most important election in our lives. I really believe this election is the most important election of our lives. Because if Trump gets in there, we are all, it's just it's going to be a nightmare.
It is.
It's
It
going to
is.
be a nightmare because
I
now you know what to do and what not to do to
right.
get what you want.
How do you let a man run a country who has 70, 75, 70, 80, 90 felony accounts?
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
But this
is
is
that who you want
America.
to represent your country? I'm not saying that these are the two best candidates. I'm just saying, Biden and Trump are the best candidates, but is this the man you want to be running the country? You know,
I actually, is this the man you want your children to emulate?
right.
Is this the man you want your daughter to marry? Would you leave your 21-year-old daughter in a room with him alone? Like, really now?
Right. And we
Because
haven't even mentioned we
we know
haven't
it's
even
for
mentioned
elections.
we haven't even mentioned what the court case is about going on right now. It's about his
How
infidelity
about that?
with
How about that?
exactly
I'm
with a
hoping.
paid woman.
Thank you.
You know,
I'm hoping that when the details comes out, that people really see what how bad this is, because everybody thought that this was a frivolous case,
it's so
and
much more than
this
that.
is setting the precedent of what's going to happen. Because when all this stuff starts coming out, and the evidence is the evidence, can't refute that. I really think the tide is going to turn because we were waiting on the January 6th case or the
Right.
case here, Georgia. No, this little hush money case is more than a hush money. It's about you
So
created a crime,
listen, no, no,
you cover a crime.
we haven't even scratched the surface of this because the whole premise of the case is his infidelity to his wife, which is based on
To
Christian
begin
principles.
with,
And
to begin with,
that's his whole platform. He's a Christian. The man can't even say, the 24, can't recite one
he
quote from the
doesn't even know the
Bible.
23rd Psalm. He
Yes.
doesn't even have a favorite scripture. But you're out there studying Bibles like, why didn't like? That's what we know how That's how we know how good God is,
Right.
because that Bible should explode in his hand. Like,
Absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
think, but you're selling them for $59, $69, which can be bought on Amazon for $5, but people are buying it.
Right.
So what does that say? Like I always say, his presentation and his how did he
Showmanship.
behave, showmanship
Yeah.
is annoying. But the fact that people just latches onto it with such favor and commitment and passion. I have no idea. Like, what are you guys thinking? This man does not care anything about you just taking your money
Right.
and
It's like
riling you up.
it's like
But
he's a
one
leading
way or
actor.
the other, if he wins, it's going to be chaos. If he loses, it will be chaos as well.
Absolutely.
It's
We've
going to be
already
chaos.
we've already heard about what he said about the bloodbath.
Correct.
So, we know,
And
what he's inciting.
those are whistling
Absolutely.
cries he's giving
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely.
And that's what disturbs me, because I'm hoping that this judge just say, I'm putting you in jail.
Right.
Even if it's just for one night, just to show him that he's not playing.
Right. One night would be
And I
great.
yeah, well, just all you need to be, even if he's in there with his security detail, it's okay. You're in jail for
One
one night.
night only.
But one night only,
It's a one night only show.
you have
Yep.
to toe the line. There must the judge could call in the Secret Service, NYPD, everybody, and said, listen, we will prepare for this.
Right.
We're going to prepare for this, and these are the concessions that we're going to need to make. Yeah, because he's spending a night or two in jail for contempt.
There you
And
go.
when that happens, he's going to act right because you have to sit there for 8 hours for the next 5 6 weeks. He's not that disciplined.
Right. Yeah, if that did happen, which I'm sure it won't, but if that did happen, there's no telling what would happen with his people. All the people
Listen,
that support
these
him,
people,
the supporters.
oh, what are they going to do? Do you see them out there?
I
He
wouldn't.
told them none of them are out there because they don't want to go to jail. Because he told them to go to the Capitol. They're all in jail. They're not out there. This mass of people that he's been calling out. It's been like 2 dozen people outside. They have because they realize that, and they don't want to come to New York and act a fool. The NYPD is willing, ready, and able, waiting to lock them up and prosecute them. And they know that he can't help them
Right.
because he's not going to take his money and bail them out.
What money?
And they know.
What money?
Thank you.
And I know that Attorney General Letitia James is now
Yes.
trying to revoke his bond because the bond
Yes.
company is not official.
Yeah. It's not legit.
Right.
So, in like, here you go,
The jig is
committing
up.
another crime. Here you go, committing another
Right.
crime.
Another crime. So we'll see.
Commit a crime to cover up crime and pay for other crimes. Like, but when are people going to realize that this is a grift? This is his way of making money, just
Right.
getting people to donate money to keep his own money. He hasn't spent a cent of his own money on this.
And that's what I'm saying. He's figured out a way to galvanize everyone, galvanize these supporters to pay his way, pay his bills. He can do what he wants to, and he doesn't have there are no ramifications for what he does. So I
None.
hope that the judicial system pulls through and holds him accountable for everything that he's done. Everything.
And this is one case that he cannot overturn. If he gets convicted, he's going to jail. You run for president from a Southern Rikers. How about that?
Right. There you go.
Let's see how that works.
Right.
It's going to be rich moving forward.
It sure will.
Okay, let's talk about this video you sent me earlier. What's that about?
Okay, so
what's kind of hard to follow?
Kind of back. You know what? We can actually talk about that next time. I think we galvanized the people enough with this conversation. But we do want to know what you think about the elections coming up, everyone who's watching. Please leave a comment. Let us know. Let us know if you want to continue on with more political commentary from us. And if you'd like to join in the conversation, please hit us up at OneMicNite. Let us know what you think. OneMicNite is ONEMICNITE. My name is MarcosLuis, MarcosLuis. You can DM me on Instagram and let them know how they can get in touch with you, Dr. Tull.
All right.
How can they get in touch with you?
Shane Tull at msn.com or Tull Clinical Psychotherapy at gmail.com. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Tull Clinical Psychotherapy.
There you go. Yeah. And he's got a new book coming, so we're going to be on the lookout for that. But if you haven't, pick up his current book, The Mental Health Pandemic. It's available on Amazon. And I have it, and you should have it too. So I want to thank you guys all for joining us for OneMicNite Talk. We're here. He's back. And let us know what you think. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
All right.